If you're in Alabama, Mississippi, or Georgia, and you just have that sinking feeling that your medical care did more harm than good, well, you are in exactly the right place. Think of this as your personal playbook. 5 clear steps to turn that suspicion into certainty and transform you from a victim into a victor. You know, that question right there can be absolutely terrifying. It's that awful feeling of deep uncertainty, maybe even a sense of betrayal. You put your trust in a medical professional, and now you're left wondering, was that trust misplaced? Let's find some clarity on that together. So let's get really clear about what we're talking about here. Medical malpractice isn't just about a doctor having a bad day or, a poor bedside manner. No, it's when their care falls below the accepted professional standard. And, this is the crucial part, that failure directly causes you harm. Simply put, you are worse off because of their mistake. Now, taking action can feel super intimidating, but it matters. It really does. Take a real case where a patient was told her tumor was just stress. Can you imagine? She felt dismissed, but she trusted her gut and she followed the exact steps we're about to cover. And the result? She got the justice she deserved and she's healthy today. Let's make sure you have that same opportunity. So, where do you even begin, right? It all starts with learning to spot the red flags. Before you can even think about building a case, you first have to recognize the warning signs that something has gone seriously wrong. Okay, pay close attention here. These are some of the most common signs. Are your symptoms actually getting worse, not better, after treatment? Have you developed some new pain or an infection that doctors just can't seem to explain? Or was there a clear, undeniable error, like being given the wrong medication or, this happens, surgery on the wrong body part? These are huge red flags. You have to trust your instincts. Don't just ignore them. Okay, so you've spotted the warning signs. What do you do right now? The key isn't confrontation. It's about taking quiet, immediate action to protect yourself and, most importantly, your health. Let's walk through the first 3 critical moves you need to make. Here they are, your first 3 moves. Number 1, get a second opinion from a completely different doctor. And hey, for a truly fresh perspective, you might not even mention the first doctor right away. Number 2, start a journal. And I mean today. Use the Notes app on your phone, whatever works. Track dates, symptoms, conversations. Stop guessing and start documenting. And third, request your complete medical records. Not a summary, everything. By law, they have to give them to you. Think of it this way. Suspecting malpractice is like spotting a small fire in your kitchen. If you ignore it, it's not going to go away. The whole house could be gone. But if you act fast, you stop the damage right in its tracks. That's what these first steps are all about. All right, now you're going to shift roles from patient to detective. It's time to build a case file with bulletproof evidence that doctors and hospitals simply cannot ignore. This is where you really start to take back control. Just for a second. Imagine the shock of waking up from surgery to find out they operated on the wrong knee. This actually happened. But the patient, he didn't yell, he didn't scream. He quietly and methodically collected the exact pieces of evidence we're about to cover. And this was the result. The hospital wrote a check for nearly $500,000, basically just to make the problem go away. Why? Because solid, undeniable proof shuts down every single one of their excuses. That is the power of evidence. I want you to think of this as packing your evidence suitcase. If you forget one item, your whole case could be at risk. You need it all. Every single medical record, date-stamped photos of your injuries, a clear timeline, every single bill and pay stub showing your financial losses, and, of course, the names of any witnesses. And look, your timeline doesn't need to be complicated. A simple day-by-day account is incredibly powerful. It creates a clear story showing exactly when things went wrong and, critically, how the medical staff responded or, failed to respond. Gathering all this evidence yourself is a huge first step, but you can't win this fight alone. You've got to bring in the professionals. There are 2 key people who will force the hospital to take you seriously: an independent medical expert and a lawyer who specializes in this exact type of case. So, how do you find the right expert? Well, the most important rule is to find someone completely separate from the original hospital system. If a doctor works for that same hospital or their first response is, "I can't get involved," that is a major red flag. It usually means they're more interested in protecting their colleagues than in helping you. Now this right here, this is the single most important question you need to ask that independent doctor. It just cuts through all the noise and gets right to the heart of the matter. And if their answer is yes, you ask them to put that in writing, even a single paragraph on their letterhead confirming this is pure gold for your case. All right, you have done the work, you've got your proof, you have your expert opinion, now it's time to make your move. This is the moment you turn all that preparation into a formal demand for justice. You know, a powerful demand letter is a lot like baking a cake. All the ingredients have to be just right. You use the hospital's own words and records against them. That's the sugar. Your hard proof, that's the flour. It gives it substance. And a short, firm deadline, well, that's the heat that forces them to take you seriously. Here's the four-part structure. You lead with a punch, quoting their own records right back at them. Then you break down the money, every single dollar this has cost you. You give them a tight deadline, something like 30 days, before a lawsuit gets filed. And you close with the classic legal phrase they absolutely hate to see: govern yourself accordingly. It's a crystal clear signal that you mean business. So the demand worked. The hospital has paid. This is the victory lap. But winning is about so much more than just cashing a check. It's about protecting that money, and more importantly, protecting your future, so you can finally begin to heal. It's really wise to think of your settlement in 3 smart buckets. The first bucket is for clearing away the debris of the past, paying off all those old medical bills and any insurance liens. The second is for building a stronger future, setting aside funds for any ongoing care you might need. And the third, and this is just as important, is for your family's fresh start, giving you the breathing room to truly move forward. Okay, before you sign that final settlement paper, just pause. This checklist is absolutely crucial. Read the release carefully to make sure it only closes this specific case. Double-check the dollar amount. Look for any hidden insurance liens. And finally, photograph both the check and the signed release. Keep that proof forever. And let's be real for a moment. The money helps, it really does, but it doesn't magically erase the trauma. That fear and that anger, they can linger. This journey was never just about financial recovery. It's about emotional recovery too. You survived the medical mistake, and you survived the fight for justice. Now it's time to focus on living again. So what's the ultimate takeaway here? You took a moment of vulnerability, of complete powerlessness, and you transformed it. By following these steps, you didn't just get compensation. You demanded and you received justice. You have been through a battle, and you've emerged not just as a survivor, but as a victor. And your fight for your own future, it just got a whole lot stronger.